At 9:30, we'll call the meeting to order. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Approval of the agenda. Are there any additions, corrections?
Just the one change, action item number 4, we will table until the following meeting for Commissioner Miller's request.
I move approval with that change.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of the minutes, January 8th board meeting and the 15th work group session.
Move approval.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Anybody wish to address the board in public comment period? We'll move on with our appointments. Allison?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for having me here. Courtney had planned to join us this morning, but due to the weather, she has opted to stay home, and that's very understandable. So I will just present to you this morning. I've had the pleasure of meeting most of you, but for those of you in the room that don't know me, I'll give you just a little bit of a background about myself. So I grew up in Houston County on a small dairy farm. My parents still farm there to this day. And I went to college at Northwest Missouri State University, where I received my bachelor's in advertising. And I also minored in English. And then after college, I actually got a job as a fashion buyer. So that was a very fun job, kind of glamorous, got to do a lot of traveling. But eventually we decided that we were ready to come home. We wanted to come back to Houston County. We love it here. We love the area, the people. So here I am. Prior to working for CETA, I worked for the city of Caledonia, and I really enjoyed my job there. I was the assistant to the clerk administrator, and I also was the economic development coordinator. And I made the switch to CETA just because I wanted to work on EDA full time. It was definitely my favorite part of my job. I'm very passionate about it, and I just find it very rewarding. So I'm very, very happy to be here, and I'm really looking forward to everything we're going to do together. The next little part of our presentation, we just wanted to give you some highlights. You should have the 2018 annual report in your packets. The plan was Courtney was going to discuss some of what she'd worked on in the last year, and then I was going to talk about some of the goals. But I will cover it all now. So one of the big things that I just want to mention that the EDA did this last year was launch a new Houston County EDA logo, brand, and website. The website is HoustonCountyMN.com. And it is meant to be a place for people who want to start a new business to go, and it's also meant to be a place for visitors to explore. So I'm just going to show you, a lot of you may have already seen the website, but we just kind of want to point out a few features for you this morning. We have this great business section here, where we have tips about starting a business, and then also just some of the things that the EDA has to offer. One of my very favorite parts of the website is this nice section down here where we have lots of local media news stories about different businesses in our area. These stories are already out there, but we put them on our website, and as more happen, we can add them, so you'll see a lot of familiar faces on there. And if you ever know of anything in the media that you think we should add in this section, please let me know. I will put it up. I just want to touch too on our visitor section. So, for example, if you'd like to spend the weekend in Houston County and you go to this stay section, we do have a printable lodging list, and this is great because our local cities can print this off, they can have it in the office, we can hand it out to visitors, different places can utilize this, and then it's actually a PDF, so I can really easily update this with any new businesses and make changes to it. So I encourage you to explore the website if you ever know of anything that you think should be added, or if you have any questions on it, do please let me know. But definitely direct people here because it's just a great resource for Houston County. And the other thing that I want to touch on from 2018, and Courtney really should be the one that's here to talk to you about this, but it is the Bluff Country Collaborative. This is a partnership aimed at creating work-based learning opportunities for local students, and it is a great way for our local businesses in Houston County to let students know what opportunities really are available to them right here in Houston County. This whole thing started with Courtney, and I was working for the city at the time, but I heard about this right away when it was kind of on the ground level, and it's really grown into something great. I've been to 3 big meetings on this so far where our local principals have come. Fillmore County is now involved too. And this year we're going to have a senior day with over 300 seniors that are going to attend in Winona. It's on March 15th. If anyone's interested in joining us, let me know and I can get you the details. We are looking for some people to interview, some of our local students for practice. We're going to have an entrepreneurial panel with some entrepreneurs from Houston County that are going to talk about their background and their experiences and how you got started. But I just can't say enough about this. This is something that, you know, I have a little brother who's in high school. He thinks it's cool. The principals like it, the parents like it, and the businesses like it. So it's just a really great thing all around. And lastly, I feel like I'm doing a lot of talking. I just want to touch on a few of our goals for 2019. I know that there'll be more things that will come up, and as you guys think of things and hear about things, please do let me know. But a few things I really want to mention. One thing that we are really trying to focus on this year is helping farmers in Houston County with the changes in agriculture. We really want to help them adapt to so that they can continue to keep their family farms. We have resources to help them either try something new on their farm, or if they'd like to transition into the workplace, we're working with workforce development on that too. So there's lots of options. If you know of anyone who could use some extra help or wants to talk about things, definitely send them my way. I've also done some research on some local markets for some new things to grow on farms if anyone's interested in that, and there are some grant opportunities out there as well. And then another thing that I've been working on really recently, Jeff, you had actually sent me some information about a Smith Child Care grant about 3 weeks ago, and I've been working with Dee from Workforce Development. That grant is due today, and we will be submitting it. We've quickly put together a core group of volunteers that are willing to be on our core panel if we're awarded, and this grant will help hopefully, you know, solve some of our child care need problems. We have a lot of people that are really interested in this, from parents to people from the county, the cities, people that work at the schools. So we know that we have a lot of people that do childcare right now that are going to be retiring soon in Houston County too. So this is something that we really want to try to look at and focus on. But I'm trying to think if I forgot anything. I will be working in Houston County on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So I'll have regular office hours on those days. And when I'm not working in Houston County, the main thing I do for CETA is I work on grants for communities, and then I help disperse them when they're awarded. So I get to work in a lot of cities, and I've learned a lot of things, and I'm hoping to bring that back here. So thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions?
just that it's good to have you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. I love your enthusiasm. It's
Thank you.
so positive.
Thank you very much.
I've been sending things to her too because I'm on the workforce board and that she can use with her students and
Yes. Yes, those things you have sent me have been very helpful, so thank you for that.
sounds good. Thank you.
We'll
Thank
talk.
you
I
very
want to
much.
see if we can get the county involved in that, the March 15th event with the school.
Okay.
And some of those too. I mean, the county is a fairly significant employer, and the staff is, and so that's
Yes.
something that something we can help with as well. So
That's wonderful.
we'll
Great.
talk about that.
Sounds good.
All right.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, you guys.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Okay, we're moving on to the consent agenda. Most of these are routine, as you notice, and will just be put on file. Do you want to go through them one by one? Well, or approve them as a one action?
Well, I've just got a couple of questions. I wanted to make sure number 2, no, wait a minute. Yeah, I wanted to make sure the county attorney has looked at those contracts and has signed off on them. There's a couple of contracts there.
As far as the
The wild-
guardianship contract and the,
Yeah,
Wildcat?
I'm not, it's the Wildcat Park Management contract that I would be, the Wildcat Management and the,
That's number 4.
the workforce number 6.
The Wild Park Management contract is the same contract that we've used in the past. It's a re-extension of the same contract. The only updates were the change in the fees for the 2019 year, and
My question there was, I know Jack has spent a considerable amount of time on that,
Mhm.
and I wondered,
I
you say it's basically the same thing.
I did hear from Jack this morning that he approved it
Yeah, okay.
and read through it, so.
Okay, fine.
Because I questioned him too, he was on the park committee. I also gave a copy to Dick because he's on that committee also. And he said it was basically what you discussed at the meeting. So,
Okay.
the only thing he questioned was, are we gonna add in another year, boat ramp
yes,
fees?
Yep.
We did add that.
and those are in there. Correct.
Okay, not for this year though,
For 2019, it should be on there.
2019.
2019, okay.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions on the consent agenda that you want clarification on?
For item 7, I didn't have the names listed in the minutes, but in the board packet, we have the 3 packages for the applicants for the extension committee. Just to clarify, 2 of them are new members, so they would be 3-year terms ending in 2021. Matt Feldemeyer is the replacement for Eric as he comes off the board, and so his is through the end of 19, just to keep them on cycle.
Yep. He's just taking over my turn.
Right.
Yep.
That's good. And I asked Brett about the one watershed plan from AMC, and you said that we are actually ahead of the rest in a lot of this.
Basically what that letter is just informing the rest of the counties that aren't as far along as we are of what they potentially can do and what the thing is all about.
Yeah.
And we've already had a project completed and paid for out of that one watershed, one plan.
Right.
So we're a ways ahead.
So that was basically info for us,
Yeah.
clarification. Okay. We look for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Okay. Moving on to action items, we got some bids for the bridge projects. Maybe Justin, Pat wants to come up and
Yes.
address some of those.
Sure. Morning.
Morning.
Filling in for Brian, as he and Justin are both out with obligations for the week. So yeah, the first one is to approve SAP 599,085 and SAP 28,604,036. They're both box culverts. One is on Old Indian Trail and one is on our County Road 4, both near Spring Grove. The low bidder was Minowa Construction, which is 6.7% over our estimate, which is kind of atypical, but that's the way it worked out. And after going through the numbers, it appears that the concrete end sections and the concrete culvert was the biggest culprit, and we're assuming probably the steel prices, the way things are right now, is what's causing that. But Brian would still recommend we approve the contract.
Is Minowa for both of them?
Yes, yep, they were let
Both for
together.
project.
Both of these projects were let as one
Who
contract.
was the low bidder?
Yep,
They were the low
Minowa.
bidder.
Yep, sure.
Yes.
Minowa's low bid was $604,321.61.
Looks like both of them are a little bit over our estimate.
Yep, we had 9 bidders and they were all obviously over, but Minowa was the lowest of the bunch at 6.7% over.
Okay.
And reviewing it with Brian, the cost factors that drove that change in cost were all legitimate and were areas where we had some rough estimates and didn't have a good fixed estimate on, so that the difference is valid.
The concrete was our biggest difference.
The end section.
And that we're assuming it's because of the steel with the tariffs and the way things are right now. The other one was erosion control netting, which is a 3N, which we haven't used in the past. It's new, something the DNR is pushing. It's a natural netting, and being we haven't used it, we didn't really know for sure the prices. It's fairly new to the.
It's more environmentally friendly, so it added to the cost.
Yep. Yep. Other than that, everything fell basically right into line where we anticipated.
Yeah.
And we need a motion to approve the low bid for the 2 bridge projects.
I make that motion.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Okay.
Okay, moving on to equipment.
Yep.
So we've got a number of items that were budgeted that we're going to try to. I also brought Shane McCabe, our mechanic, in case there's questions that he may need to jump in and answer. Our first one under minor equipment was a hydraulic compactor, which goes on the end of our backhoe, so we can, when we're doing culverts, we can compact quite a bit better and hopefully get away with some of this settlement. And that is for $8,000. We had budgeted $9,500, so we're a little bit under our anticipated budget. Our next one is a trailer for our skid loader. We had $9,500 budgeted, and that came in at $10,396, so it came over a little bit over our anticipated budget. But between the two and our minor equipment, we're under our total anticipated budget. Now with the skid loader trailer, our plan is to get rid of 2 trailers. We're going to try to downsize our fleet a little bit, since this one will be more versatile. And then on the major equipment side of things, a smooth drum roller, used smooth drum roller, for a price of $36,500. We budgeted $40,000, so we're coming in under on that one. Motor grader, price of $218,505. That's after our trade-in of our 2005 that we're replacing. There again, we budgeted $220, so we're a touch under there as well. And then we'll skip down. Well, I guess we're at the plow truck. We've got 2 options. One is with a tarp, and one is without. Without the tarp is a little bit cheaper. It's about $6,976 over our anticipated budget. With the tarp, we'd be $10,381 over our anticipated budget. We have budgeted $260. The price would be $270 with the tarp. $270,381.32 with the tarp. Now, this is your guys' choice which direction you want to go. I recommend we go with the tarp. Just with the way things are going with NPCA and how things are working out, I think in the near future it's probably going to be required that all trucks have a tarp. Last year we bought the truck with the tarp, and that's why we're trying to stay consistent. We're thinking it'll be cheaper to do it now up front.
It'll be additional $3,000 about.
Yep, $3,400.
$3,400.
Yep.
And that is the direction I know they're going to keep the sand from hitting windshields
Right,
and
right. Right, it's not a
polluting the
requirement.
air
It's
and-
not a requirement yet.
It's not a requirement yet, but I feel personally, and Brian thinks the same way, eventually in time, probably short time, it's gonna be a requirement.
And to try and add it later would be a,
Potentially more cost. Now's the time to do it, since they're there building it, they've got it all stripped down, they can do all the electric and everything in one shot. So, with all that, in our major equipment, we're also, if, with the tarp, we would still be coming in $2,613 under our budget, because with the roller, the way we figure it, originally we were gonna purchase one roller and sell one roller, but with this roller, I can get a shell kit, so it would act as a sheep's foot as well, so I can sell our other sheep's foot, which is a 91 model, and we can, again, downsize the fleet, have one machine that would do everything we need it to do, and one machine to take care of that's considerably newer than the ones we have. So with the sale of both rollers, that would make up that difference and put our total dollar amount.
and trading in the grader,
And trading in the grader, right?
which is in good shape right now, basically.
Yeah, it's in fairly good shape. We're getting, I think, a very reasonable number for trade-in value.
New graders and all-wheel drive.
Yes, that will be a six-wheel drive, which is a change from now. I think a good upgrade as well.
Well, I know I've been questioning it all week too, and I talked to Jeff about too with getting the bids and stuff, because originally Fred had brought up multiple bid letting, but
Yeah.
it sounds like when it's over 22,000, something like that,
25,000.
25,000, you need to go with the state bid? Or-
Yep, or have two bids
Okay.
when possible. Like our smooth drum roller, that's the only one that's outside of these circumstances, because
Okay.
the other ones are all state bid. Our smooth drum roller, if you can't get two bids, which is hard to do when you're doing something used, because it's hard to get comparable, exact comparable, you have to put a letter to the file stating that you had contacted other dealers or looked into other options. And then once you have that, that appeases the auditors, and they're okay with it, which we do have on file.
In the case of that roller, for perspective, do you recall the price of a new one?
I don't, to be honest. We didn't even look at a new one. I didn't think it was
Right.
cost effective to buy a new one in this case
Yep.
for the amount of use we
For the
use.
amount of use you use it.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I like the fact that you're downsizing and making use of one machine versus having two laying around,
Yep.
giving more work for Shane to work.
I was just gonna say Shane appreciates that as well.
Yes.
How do you feel, Jeff, about this budgeted item?
Well, again, they were all budgeted. They keep in line with the plan of a rotation of vehicles to balance age, use, and in the case of the loader, the greater the resale value, and balancing that right equation of maintenance cost and when it's the right time to sell and recoup some of our funds. Doing some looking, I saw used graders that were more expensive than the state bid price for a new one. So of course we have the benefit of the warranty and such that comes with that.
You're also getting an extended warranty on this too, right?
Yep, we're doing an 84-month, 4,000 extended warranty. $4,000 extended warranty as well.
Yep.
And if we were to decide to trade that in, and before that was up,
Before the warranty's up, you
it would
get
be
that money
prorated
back.
back to us. Yep,
Yep.
because that stays with the
That
machine.
stays with the machine, so you'll get that back.
Yep.
Now that's just on the motor grader, or that's on the truck also?
This is just the motor grader.
Okay.
The truck has its own standard warranties, which are actually pretty good. I don't know what they are off the top of my head. Shane probably does.
As far as major engine components and emissions, they are at 6 years. Excuse me. 6 years, 100,000. Our trucks don't hit 100,000 miles typically in the lifetime that they're used here.
Yeah.
And the 6 years is very competitive, if not superior to other brands of trucks for standard warranty. 1 year bumper to bumper warranty.
That's because of the Mac?
Yep.
Okay.
The transmissions, we run a Allison transmission, they have also a 6 year, 500,000 mile warranty. So,
Understand too that since you guys have gone to Mac, you've have the equipment to work on that as far as reading codes and stuff like that?
Right, recently we purchased a computer system that allows me to tap into the truck
Right.
and read the codes, which saves us a lot of money and time. Dealers can charge up to $600.
Yeah,
just to
just
Yeah,
to read
yeah.
it.
Just to
Yep.
plug it in, right?
So I can tell if I even need to bring it to a dealer or not.
Right.
Before we had this system, it was kind of guessing game.
Yeah.
It was run it and see what happens.
Right.
So now we'll be able to stay ahead of that.
Yep.
It's gonna pay for itself in a hurry. That diagnostics
Oh,
program
absolutely.
is for sure.
Glad to see that.
Yep.
Very glad to see that.
Let's do it.
We are too, right?
The plow trucks are on a decent rotation schedule. There's plenty of cases and studies out there that show that we would be, or that other fleets at least are better served by rotating faster than we do. But of course that comes with the cost of buying multiple trucks a year to keep up with those replacement rates. So I think we've got the right balance of, if we keep up with one a year, that keeps us at about the right pace based on how much we're using them.
Right.
It'll be about a 12-year rotation
Yeah.
for us.
What's that?
It's a 12-year rotation
Okay.
for us. If we do one a year, then the 12th year we'll be replacing the first one. So.
Yep. And for, given our size and the amount of use, that's about right.
It seems to have been working out so far. And
Yeah.
yeah. At this point, I know Brian has made comment too. We don't see a need to try to do anything sooner.
Right.
Stay with what we have.
The one piece of equipment, I'll bring it up, that is not on this list for approval today, but we may throw an audible at you and add it. We were intending to replace a loader up in Hoka. The original budget for 2019 had a new loader priced in based off the state bid prices. We made it a budget amendment to drop that to the price of a used loader because there was one available in town. That came out of, I think it came from the state. It was available locally.
Yep.
That loader is no longer, it's been sold, no longer available to us. And so we removed it. However, Pat's been doing some looking and he's found a couple of similar model loaders, actually newer, less hours, but are farther away. One's in Chicago, one's in St. Louis area. So we'd have to deal with some shipping and costs too. But if the board agrees to it, and authorizes us up to, let's see, I think we had 68,000 budgeted.
We had budgeted 68, and that was, if we
Yeah.
could do an authorization of up to $70,000, that would get the loader here. The way things are, I think it's going to be a little bit cheaper. I just don't want to be under and get burned on the backside, you know. But I think if we could authorize up to 70,000, I know our next board meeting is not until the 12th. I hate to find one now or in the next week and then find out that it's sold before the 12th or at that time frame.
But that's not on the proposal here.
It's not on the proposal
No.
here. That just came up in our discussions. He's been doing some looking and found a couple. So
I think we have to deal with the proposal here to
Yeah.
begin with.
Yep.
Yeah,
For sure.
yeah. I'll move approval.
I'll second that.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Now, do we want to do
Thank you.
any action on looking for that loader with a not to exceed amount, or what's your feeling on that?
Well, from what I understand, this is, you should have been done last year, but it didn't happen, but, and given the fact, the condition of that other loader, it's not a safe machine. I guess if he's looking for a cap, I'd be fine with that. I don't know what you think, Fred.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. What are the prices you've been, the base prices you've been quoted on these machines?
68.9 is the price I'm at right now
Okay,
for the one we're after. And we were looking at the one, which is the 2014, where we had based our 68,000, our budgeted amount. Was a 2014, and he was at 68,000. That's where we came up with that number. With 500 hours. This one is a 2017 with 300 hours. So we're going 3 years newer for virtually the same price. except for it's in Chicago or Chicago area.
You'd have to get it up here, yeah.
How much does it cost to get a machine like that from Chicago to here?
Right
on
now-
a truck, not you going down and driving it here, but
Well, right now I got the price set at 68.9, which includes delivery.
It includes delivery?
It does include delivery, the way I've got it set. If everything goes through the way I'm anticipating. Now Shane and I are talking about going down there because I'm not one to
You wanna look at it.
click a button on the internet and purchase it. So Shane and I might run. It's a 4.5 hour ride. We may run down there and take a peek at it if I can make a deal with this guy, with the dealer.
But given the hours, it can't be junk, is it? Of course, you never know, but.
You wouldn't think so, but you just never know. Like I said, I'm
Yeah, I
just-
know, you
I'm a
wanna
little
look at it,
nervous.
yep, I
And
get
these
that.
guys do it all the time. A lot of these equipment jockeys, they do it all the time. But I guess I'm not in that same shoes. So
And in this case, we did have the price of a new one because we had a budget and it was
85,000, 85.9 is what it was
For a new one?
for a new one. So for $300, we're saving $16,000 to $17,000.
is there any kind of warranty on this?
There is warranty until October of 2019. So we still will have, if we get it, we'll have
Yeah.
roughly 6 months,
Well,
7
we've
months
got-
by the
we've
time
got-
we get it.
A substantial amount of time to use it if it's gonna go
Yep,
south on us, why it probably will go south by then.
probably not. I don't foresee it.
Yeah.
Warranties on that type of machine aren't very long.
No, usually they're 1 year,
Yeah,
typically.
yeah.
And in this case, I know, Eric, you mentioned it too, that this tractor we have is in tough shape, and it is in very tough shape.
Yeah.
This one I anticipate we're going to use in the summer months as well. It's got the quick attach, skid loader quick attach, so we can put a broom on it, we can put a grapple on it. It's going to be a lot more versatile
It'll be
machine. Not just,
multi-purpose, you'll get more use out of
right,
it.
not just sit in Hoka and wait for the 4 months of winter to load sand and salt. We're going to use it for various other things. But
Okay.
that's why I'm proposing. I just don't want to lose the deal. If I come up with something and get a price made, and then he sells it in the meantime from now until February 12th, I just hate to have that happen.
However, it's not on the agenda. Right?
Well, no, it's not. But we could give him the cap or whatever, right?
Right. We could do it by consensus, give them a cap.
I'm fine with that.
Needs to be done.
Yep. Need to
So
vote on
do we
that?
want a consensus from the board to
It
cap
needs,
it at 70,000?
Yeah.
it needs to be done, it's in the budget,
I know.
consent for a cap.
And then we can
It's-
actually do the motion to approve it at the next February 12th meeting.
Yeah. If
Right.
it actually happens, if they
If it
find out it's a
happens.
good piece of machinery, well, that's,
Right.
that's the understanding that we have, that
Right.
Right, you
If-
want, after you're looking at it, then you'll,
I want to be able to either pull the trigger or not ahead of the February 12th board meeting, so I can tell him yes, we'll take it.
would he take any kind of an earnest money contract on it, or is that off the table?
I believe if I can tell him it's a guarantee that we'll take it after the February 12th
He'll
meeting,
wait.
he'll hold it for us. But if I say we're not sure if the board's going to approve it or not,
then it's no go.
then it's a no-go.
Yeah,
If I know you guys give me the
yeah.
70,000 up front.
He's got it on his lot, and if
Currently.
somebody comes along with the money, he'd just soon sell it, yeah, I
Yeah,
understand.
which rightfully so. I don't blame him. A number of years ago, these things have been done. And probably for the last 10 years, it hasn't been done, but it used to, for situations that arise just like this.
Well, I'm fine with the consensus of.
Put a cap on
Yep.
it and let them move forward.
Yep.
Okay. And add it to our February 12th agenda.
can do.
Is that
Okay.
okay?
That's perfect. Yep. At least I know I can move forward. That is all I have, I believe.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much.
It's like you did your homework on this one.
I've been trying, right?
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks,
You
Matt.
guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shane.
Okay, item number 3, the LALS grievance.
Yes. So the action itself to consider would be, and I'm not sure if y'all received Tessa's email this morning reiterating it. But essentially what we intended on doing generically after all the contracts were signed was have the board appoint me as a representative for any grievances. We happen to have a grievance, so we need to accelerate this. So the issue isn't the grievance itself here today, it's to appoint a representative of the board to act on statutory grievances.
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll say, that was a real quick, is there discussion, wasn't it?
Yeah, that wasn't good. I didn't know if there would be discussion.
Aye.
You can have a discussion now.
I'll slow down my discussion. Okay. We are tabling number 4 until February 12th. Item number 5, approve classification banding of the solid waste coordinator.
All right, this is the realignment of our environmental services clerk position to the solid waste coordinator with Rick Frank's retirement and the alignment of that position underneath Aaron as one central position. It realigns her duties a bit from managing the program to having some not direct supervision over the employees, but certainly a lead element in taking care of those facilities and keeping their work coordinated. So the banding came back that this is one we sent it out to our contractor. The contractor compares the position, neutral third party on all those, and comes back with a banding decision based on what we've defined the position to be.
And then the motion would be to approve the banding of the solid waste coordinator, is basically what it is.
Two actions. One is to approve the banding change, and then the second action to go along with that would be to basically reappoint Julie Amundsen into that position. And what we've asked for is that position to be retroactive to effective October 13th, which is when Rick Frank retired, and she's been doing those duties.
Okay.
This just took a while to get through the banding process with everything else that was going on.
Yeah, there needs to be 2 separate motions then?
Yes.
Okay. I'll move to approve the banding then.
I'll second that.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Hey, you didn't vote.
Huh?
I didn't hear you vote.
I voted
That
yes.
means a yes.
That's a yes.
Yeah.
It's automatic.
So then to fill the position
And now
retroactive.
the second motion would be to fill the position retroactive to October 13th.
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. And number 7, approve classification and pay change of deputy treasurer to deputy auditor treasurer. That's another one I had clarified this morning. This is not Donna, this is Julie in your office.
Julie's like,
I thought we
Yep.
were doing something with you.
No. Yep.
So,
Now, yeah, Julie has been our deputy treasurer, and then with the combination of the 2 offices, her responsibilities increase a bit, and so this band change reflects that.
I'll make that a motion.
Second.
further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passed. Commissioner reports. Oh, good, Fred, I get to have you start each time now.
I have a note over here. Yeah. It's getting toward 6 months from the time that we hired an administrator, and the suggested time for an evaluation that Gary Wires gave us, I think, for our first evaluation was 6 months. So I think we need to get a little serious about that, and we haven't even gone as far as getting a form to follow or having any discussions. We need to work with Jeff and design a written form and then whatever else might be necessary, but we do need to get at that.
Can we also get, advice or, that's not the right word, from Gary Weirs, who we work with
Yeah, yeah,
as a
I'm sure we
consultant.
can, yeah.
He must have a evaluation form or something to follow.
Yeah, what I've done so far is get the department head evaluation form from our HR department, and then, I tried to call Gary over the weekend and didn't get him.
Okay.
But, I can get a hold of him probably today
Okay.
and ask him what would be the next thing to do. And then
Sounds
I can gather that stuff together and talk to Jeff about it. That'll be fine.
Okay.
That sounds good.
Okay.
We can add that as a agenda item for the next work group session, if you'd like.
Yeah, well, that's what I had in mind.
Yep.
I would like to get at least my part of it done and talk to you before the next work group session,
Which
Okay.
is next Tuesday.
which is next Tuesday.
All right.
That puts a timeline on me.
Yeah, that sounds good.
That's good.
Good.
Okay. I didn't have any meetings since the last meeting, so that's
Eric?
all I've got.
My meeting for SEMCAC was canceled due to weather, so I didn't have any meetings either, so I don't really have anything.
Well, I had workforce development last Thursday, and we are now searching for a new regional director as Randy Johnson is retiring, or we have a little time. We didn't put in the date yet, but we're starting the search and the committees to start looking for a new regional director. Actually, workforce development was approved funding-wise through October, because this is a federal program. So we're okay, except for the SNAP programs and the ones that John gave us a lowdown on, the ones that are affected. But workforce development itself is still moving forward on recruiting. There's quite a few places that have gone under that they're working with people to find new jobs, etc. EMS, there again, we're really pushing for some funding from the state to come through for the distracted driving fines, that we could possibly get some money to go to the EMS rural, because we're the ones, the rural counties are the ones that are having the most difficult getting volunteers, getting people to do it, getting money to buy what they need to do their job with. So we're working on that. The other counties, all but two, went along with a request for funding on their appropriations. And when I explained about Houston County already doing locally, they were all kind of shocked. And we're the only county that has done that, and they're not about to take it away. But they might come next year and give us a presentation of what EMS itself does and how we benefit from it. They provide all the continuing education for all our volunteers and all the seminars. So we probably will hear from them in July when we hear from different boards. But they were very grateful for what we do now, so they couldn't argue with me about that. I told them my board didn't like it when I brought it up. No, so those were my two main meetings, so and that's about all that I have that, I think we could move on to public comment, if anybody has any closing public comments that they wanna, state. Come forward if you would mind, so we,
There were just a couple concerns, one, steps out front. There,
and you are,
Sure.
state your name,
Barry Couch,
okay,
they're out of, code. Code is 7 3/4, and they're 8 inches. We just add a step to it, have someone take the steps out and, then put it to code so these older people don't slip or trip on them. They're used to the 7 3/4 steps. They're 8 inches. I noticed that.
and where is
Now,
this at?
which steps are these?
It's front steps.
The front
Oh,
of
our-
the
Front
courthouse here.
Oh, the
old
courthouse.
courthouse.
And then,
Oh.
just wondering if you had anything budgeted for guardrails for next year.
I'd have to talk to Brian about that, I guess.
You talk guardrails on,
Guardrails on the roads, like there's one spot.
So I take it you're a contractor or what? Or
I'm just uneducated engineer. Got 2 engineer funds
okay.
Okay. Well, we can check on that.
yeah.
That'd
Yeah,
be
if
something
you-
to check with Brian.
If you give me the specifics, I will check with the engineer and we'll take a look at it and see if that's in the plan.
Almost read facilities management, which is TAS.
For the steps, yeah.
I think the steps aren't they part of that grant that we're trying to get for the legacy grant or something also?
I would assume that that's on the.
Yeah.
Was part of it.
I would assume that what you're talking about would be part of a legacy grant that we're working with the Historical Society with some upgrades, some needed upgrades on this building.
Right.
Yeah.
And the steps would be part of that.
And the steps would be a part of that.
I think we can get by with adding 1 step. I didn't measure the total height,
Yeah,
do the calculation.
yeah.
Yeah, they're in rough shape, so that's one of the areas that does need work on the building, and we're
We're
aware of that, and so that's something we're working on with the legacy information
Yeah, I was
to do.
in
Yep.
12th grade.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sounds good. Thank you for bringing that up, and we will pursue it.
Yeah.
We'll talk to Brian about the guardrails part.
All right.
Yep.
Anybody else want to address the board? No? Okay. Motion, looking for a motion to adjourn, which we really don't need, but.
You wanna change that? You just wanna meet and adjourn?
No, that's,
Okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
If a second is needed, I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.